Hey everybody, welcome back. It's early in the morning. It's 20 to 7. I'm a morning person, so I got a day off, so I'm trying to get the rest of my stuff in today. It's Memorial Day weekend, so we can plant stuff out and get ready. It's really overcast right now. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, so I figured this is a perfect time to get everything in. It looks like I'm gonna have to spray my hat with some bug spray, but I wanted to show you this. These are the beds that I'm putting the tomatoes in. So I'll get these all ready. I did go through and weed because the weeds were starting to come up, and I'm getting everything ready here. So I did water everything down here in this bed, and I have these tomato cages, which I wasn't going to use, but then my husband and I sat down and did some planning because I already have all of these. So we're probably just going to use these and just kind of stagger them throughout the whole bed, and we should be able to fit everything in the two beds. But I have both determinate and indeterminate tomatoes. So I did talk about this a lot last year. I thought for a moment that maybe indeterminate tomatoes would be better, but I guess the way I look at it is I live in a very, very short growing season. I only have a few months. I mean, literally we're about frost date to frost date, we have about 120 days, but it's usually way less than that weather-wise, temperature-wise. So, and doing some research, I feel like doing a determinate tomato is much more appropriate for me in my area, because it's going to grow up, it's going to grow a bush, it's going to put on all the tomatoes that it's going to give, and then the plant dies off. Whereas an indeterminate tomato, as long as the conditions are good, it's about the time for the chickens to start laying eggs this morning, so you'll be hearing them in the background. But the indeterminate tomatoes, as long as the conditions are correct, that the tomatoes will grow and grow and grow and grow. As long as they have space, they have warmth, they have nutrients, they will just keep growing and keep producing. But the way I look at it is I don't have a lot of time. And for someone who has a really long growing season, that might be a great idea. And I really tried my hand at that last year. But we go from winter to summer to winter in a very short amount of time. So I feel like doing a determinate tomato is much better for me in my area. But anyway, long story short, I still have seeds, or had seeds left over from last year. These are all the tomatoes that we're putting in. They are severely outgrowing their pots right now, so I'm just gonna put them in. So I can't really remember, I think the beefsteaks, which ones here? I think the beefsteaks are indeterminate, the giant Belgiums are indeterminate, but I'm just gonna go for it, and I will probably just let them bush, and we'll see. So I'm gonna try my hand at putting these in, and then I'll show you how I'm gonna plant them. So this is how I'm going to be planting the tomatoes. I know it's a little cumbersome with the tomato cages already up, but at least I've spaced them out. I'm going to put a little fertilizer in here. This is a little Trifecta Plus, and I actually learned from a girl on YouTube, Jessica Soward's Roots and Refuge Farm, that she actually puts it cracked egg in the bottom of the tomatoes. I don't know, it was like an old wives' tale that she was talking about, and I'm like, hey, why don't I try that? So I have an overabundance of eggs, so I'm gonna crack it a little just to get it going. Drop it in the hole, and I take my tomato plant. I'm gonna take off the bottom leaves, anything down towards the bottom. I'm gonna take these off so that I just have everything on the top. And it looks like my hole is not quite big enough, but see all these little hairs on the bottom? All these little hairs will grow roots. So I'm gonna go back to my tried and true method of laying it on its side, digging down, and then kind of bending it upward, and then filling everything in. And this will grow up so nice, and it's gonna have more, it's gonna grow more roots off of the stem, and it will grow up to be a nice big healthy plant. So that's that. And I'm gonna mulch all the way around this because tomatoes have a terrible problem with blight, and I don't want to have that problem again. I warded it off last year by mulching a lot, so that was helpful because it's the backsplash. It's the bacteria that's in the soil that gets splashed up onto the leaves, and that's what causes the blight. So that is my first tomato plant. So this whole section is going to be Romas. I have a few more Romas, but I'll put them in the other one, and then I will, let me get this out of the tomato cage. I will show you what it looks like when I'm all done. Okay, so this bed is done. I did put some plants in between the tomato cages because I feel like they can still catch on and stay upright. I put all these in here. These are Romas, and the one cherry tomato plant that I have, I put in here. And I know that these are all determinate plants, so that means they have a specific life cycle. They will only grow to be a specific size, produce a specific amount of fruit, and I know that all these plants will do this. They are kind of close together, but I'm going to keep the bottom leaves all trimmed up and make sure that nothing's touching the ground. That's really more for air movement and airflow. And so now I'm gonna finish the bed because I'm a little spaz once in a while. So I go from one thing to another and never finish anything. So I'm gonna finish this whole bed first. So I'm gonna go through and mulch this and water it in well, and then this bed will be done. Here they are, they're all in. Everything's mulched. These are Romas, and then I plopped this cherry tomato in right here because we don't eat a ton of cherry tomatoes. So I'm glad that I got this one bed done, start to finish. I really have to laugh at myself because I'm a squirrel. Off to something else. So everything is done. It's supposed to rain later this afternoon, but I did water them in real good, so they're all ready. It was kind of a pain to get into the tomato cages, but I'm really glad I did it though, because I know where everything is now and I could really put things where I wanted it to. Now it was supposed to be super cloudy today, and then the sun came out, so I'm glad I started as early as I did. I did go through and water everything. I know it's supposed to rain this afternoon, but I watered everything in real good. I didn't water the peppers. I'm trying to not do that. They don't like a ton of water, so I'm trying to leave them alone. All right, so off to the next bed. I just thought of something while I was sitting here digging. Now, this is all dry in the top. I didn't pre-moisten all this bed. And this is super dry on top. So as I'm digging down, I don't know if you can see it super well. the sun coming in. All this underneath is still moist. It's damp. It's still kind of wet. It's not super wet. It's just damp. So this is pretty good. So I feel really good about the soil that I purchased. Putting in a lot of amendments and stuff in here. And I know that this will last. I mean, gosh, it hasn't rained in, well, we were supposed to get a thunderstorm. Oh gosh, it's probably been 5 or 6 days, and it's still pretty damp down here. So that's really good to know when I get to watering, that deep down in this soil, it's still wet. So hence, that's another reason why I didn't water my peppers, because probably if I stick my finger down there, it's probably still damp down there. So don't want to overwater. That's going to cause a lot of root rot and a lot of problems. So super excited. So the second bed of tomatoes is all done. I've got beefsteak and giant Belgium in here. These are indeterminate tomatoes, so they are just going to grow. So I may just let them bush, and then when they get to a certain point, I can top the heads off, and that way they just won't grow anymore, and that will be the end of their fruit. So we will see. But this is all mulched and watered in, and everything's looking good.